Hi everyone. So the previous activity we created our own maze and we had instructions to get us to the end of the maze, and we used what we call a sequence to do that. The next type of instructions that we can give is a flowchart. So a flowchart is a series of boxes connected with arrows. A process, an action that performs a task or changes something. Order, the way items are arranged. Okay, so creating a flowchart. So it's important to understand this because in Scratch we are also going to have some sort of visual flowchart and sequences. So there's a specific order in which we have to do this. So if we press that button, and if that button is pressed, we can make this sprite, which is just this image in Scratch, we can make this sprite move to the right, but only if that is pressed. So this first needs to happen before this would happen. And then if this doesn't happen, then something else should happen. So we need to understand how a flowchart works, because we're basically going to use flowcharts to create our sprites in Scratch. Not to create the sprites, but to make them move or make them do something in Scratch. Okay, so what they want us to do is they say knowing how to create flowcharts will help you to show how to order sequences of instructions. A flowchart is a diagram that shows a sequence of instructions. It has a start box to tell you where you begin, a stop box to tell you where to stop. So these purple ones over here, if I can zoom in a bit. Okay, so this is going to be for the instructions, and then this is a process. A stop box tells you where to stop, and then process boxes tell you what to do. So arrows to tell which box to look at next, and each box has a special shape as shown. The arrows tell you the order in which to carry out the instructions. So for activity 3.1, I'm just going to close this one. For activity 3.1, look at the flowchart. Okay, let's look at it. So it says start, stand up, sit down, clap your hands 3 times. Okay, it gives us a bunch of processes. So usually the things that we need to do. And then in here we have the start and the stop boxes. Begin at the box start. The arrows tell you to go to the first rectangle, follow the arrows and do each process. Did you get it correct? You should have stood up, then sat down, then clapped your hands 3 times, then stood up again, then walked forward 2 steps. Okay, so this is what we had to do. You start, you follow that arrow, and it says stand up. You follow that arrow, and you sit down. If you've done that, you go to the next arrow. So you do whatever is inside of the box, and just follow the next arrow after that, until we stopped. So if you've done that, then you followed all of the instructions or the entire flowchart. Now they say find the sequences you wrote to get through the maze in skill 1, in skill 2. So it's this one over here. So here, find those instructions and write your sequences as a flowchart. So we're going to basically copy this over here, and you can create this in Word or you can create this in Paint. So if I go down, you can see that I have this box over here that looks like that, and then for the processes we're going to use a normal rectangle. So you can also fill out the outline with some sort of color. Let's say we wanted the outline to be, let's see what they made it, this purple color, so I'm going to make it that purple color. And for the normal rectangle you're just going to use, I think, green. Yes. Now if you use the previous skill I showed you where you just copy and paste, you can have a bunch of processes over here, and you can also have the start. I'm just going to select this guy and put it there, and then underneath each one you can just put down an arrow. I'm just going to draw here. So there's an arrow. I'm going to make that arrow black, and then we're just going to press copy and then paste. Oh. Let's just make one arrow over here. So there's one arrow there, and now I'm just going to copy and paste. Just make sure you don't copy it like that, because you'll see if you move that, it's going to go over it. So the smaller you copy this, Oopsie. The smaller that you copy this, the more control you have on how it's going to look there. But for more accuracy, Paint is not ideal for this because there's no singular arrow. But you can also just draw a line. So you can just choose a line and then just make your own arrow. There's my arrow. I'm just going to fill out the white spots. And now you can also use the freeform selection. And I'm just going to say copy and paste. Paste it. And now I have a bit more control on how that would look. But ideally, I would actually like you guys to go into Word and you say Insert and you say Shapes. And in here, you can also draw a normal rectangle. You can choose the shape fill, so that just means what's going to be inside. The shape outline, you can see here is going to be the color of whatever the border is there. Let's make it red, so there you can see it. And this, you can just simply click and then copy and paste and move this around like you would like. Paste. There we go. So, and then the other shape that you can also put in is this one. So this would be our start, or I think it was purple. Okay, and then inside here you can start typing something inside. So I'm just going to go back to home and I'm going to choose my text to be black. And now I can just say start, and you can press space to make it go inside, or you can just make it center aligned and then it goes exactly in the middle. And then you can change the shape around like you'd like to, and we just put that at the bottom. Okay, so it's very similar to Paint. And then shapes, you can put in an arrow right here, so a line arrow. So you can zoom in and then we can just put an arrow going there. My boxes are a bit too close to each other, so I'm just going to change their distances. Very cool. Guess we want that to go exactly down, so that's not going to work. So I'm just going to take that away and just put in a new shape over here. So I'm just going to say start here, go there, and then we want it to be black. You can also just choose the color in here, and then I'm going to put in another one. So shapes, and I want this one to be black as well. You can even go here and draw in another one there. So then you just follow those. Oh, I'm just going to make it black again. Okay. So you can see now that I have this. If you were to space them out a bit better than I did, then you are more than welcome. And try to keep them underneath each other just so that it looks nice and neat. So you're just going to rewrite or recreate, actually that's the better word, your sequences that you made for your own maze in activity 2.3. So you can just do that and just make sure that it looks like this. There is no rule that says that it should only be underneath each other. It usually just looks neater if everything is in order, but you can actually, so we want it to look neat, but technically if you can just follow the arrows, you won't have a wrong answer, because we can still see I do this instruction, then I go to the next one, and then to the next one, and then to the next one. So it's just better to have everything nice and neatly ordered underneath each other. But I mean, you have a whole digital page, so you're not wasting ink, you're not wasting any paper, so you can go crazy on how big you want to make these things. And that's actually all we had to do for skill 3. That's it. Enjoy the rest of your day.